I know bitches on the daily shaking ass for some cash. I know bitches on the daily let you smash for the gas. I got bitches from before, it's like a blast from the past. Swear I'm rotten from the core, I'm rolling weed on the dash. That bitch drip drop, total kick rocks. I don't get caught.
What's going on, everybody? This is episode 9 of 10's Hop Unfiltered. Of course, this is your host, Zoe, here with the homies as usual, Kennawayne and Henny. And then we have a special guest today with us, man. We got Miles, man. How you feeling, dog?
I feel fantastic. It feels good to be here. Thank you guys for having me on. It feels
Tell
good,
us a little bit about yourself, man.
Oh, my name is Miles, a.k.a. 100 Miles. It's what you can look up if you're trying to go listen to my newest music. I've also been by Advocates and Young Ab and YA, all shortened abbreviations of the first one. I've been doing music for a minute, man. I moved out to California at Los Angeles about 10 years ago. And I've just been doing it. Aside from like doing regular life shit, feeding myself and my family, it's just been it for me. It's therapeutic. I love rapping, and I'm a releaser. My goal now is to release shit. So it's like I'm gonna be releasing a lot more, and I'm just having fun with it, trying to stay sane.
Okay. Well, dope, man. We're definitely glad to have you on.
Yes, sir.
You by far have already won the award for best background.
I know.
Everybody
Shitting on us, okay?
Yeah.
Hey, and everybody
football.
out there, that's a Velt boy too. So all
Yes,
y'all
sir.
rocking with us, see from the Velt. You know what
We got
I'm
You
four
saying?
Velt
believe
boys
you
on.
can achieve.
Four Velt boys on. That's not a gang sign, y'all. That's
You
Hey,
understand
yeah, we
this?
out here.
I mean, it is if you do something.
It is.
Yeah,
But-
if you do something. Actually, I got kicked out of a track meet because it was a gang sign. So.
how are you two colored fellas at the bottom feeling today?
Very niggered up. You feel me?
Hey,
So-
Shout out for the hand bottle.
I had my little,
Special gift.
me a little
Appreciate
cerveza
you.
today. Nice. Well, man, let's get right to it. Like we always do at this time, you know, we got our throwback album of the week. Today, we have one that's very near and dear to me, even though I didn't pick it. It was just some type of telepathy, man. We're doing Big KRIT's, The Return of Forever, otherwise known as R4, man. So that was one of the earlier entries in Big KRIT's career. That's kind of right when he started to pop. It's been just about a decade now since that joint first release, man.
Yes.
Kennawayne, since you picked this topic, man, let's go ahead and let you start it off, man. Just tell us a little bit about how you feel about the album, how it's held up today, man.
Man, I think it's held up. I'd say it's one, if not top 2 of his, all around joints. I don't listen to it like I listened to it this week, but I listen to a lot of the songs like The Rotation, My Subs, The Vent, probably one of the deepest songs on there. I will say, listening through this, like completely, I've matured, and the whole album just sounds better to me. Like there were songs like Lions and Lambs that just hit me a little bit different than when I first heard it about 10 years ago. I mean, I'm 32, I was 22. So the songs that originally hit, like My Subs, Rotation, shit, you know what I'm saying? Because I was in the club back then. But I think we don't appreciate KRIT enough for what he does, man. He's still hitting on all high notes. He's up there like talent-wise with Cole and Kendrick, and he's a Southern nigga. That's what's crazy about it. But man, it still gets replay. I loved it back then. I loved it now. It's always gonna be in the rotation, especially the song "The Rotation." But man, I know a lot of people, especially in Texas, fuck with KRIT. And I remember when I first heard it, because this is the album that really, really put me on them. Especially when I heard Country was the song that put me on, because the remix had Luda.
You already know.
Yeah.
Okay, who's this nigga?
So
And,
about to go to that.
You get to listening, and then, bro, everybody was like,
Manny
"This
and
nigga
Bun.
from Texas," when you was telling people, yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely the album, man. What do y'all, Miles, since you the guest, fam, what you?
Yeah, I'll go. It's great. I like where you touched about how different songs impact you now and back then. Because I was thinking the same thing, Lions and Lambs. That shit is like, it hits. And the thing about KRIT, man, is just he's so Southern. And it's just like something new. It's like if I'm listening to Outkast, I really like Outkast is one of my favorites.
Yes.
And KRIT really, especially on this album, he embodies a lot of it. There's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of just like that country shit. On top of that, he produced the whole shit.
Yes.
Hey, don't leave self-produced.
It's self-produced. And also KRIT is he's a perfect balance of like being positive and telling people to stay up on positive notes. And I'm on my pimp shit. Look at me. Like it's a perfect balance. And I feel like that's a duality that I live in. And so that I super relate to it. You know what I mean? Like,
Fact.
It's it. You know?
No, that's a fact, man. And I think one of the interesting things there is because KRIT has that super strong Southern drawl. He, you definitely, he's unmistakable as a Southern artist. But
right.
one of the things that's really cool is that he puts a lot of introspection in his music. There's a lot of introspective thought there that you don't typically associate with Southern music. So it's almost like conflicting style right there, where you're expecting just, he has the kind of especially on this tape, he has those down south dirty kind of party beats, but then he's rapping about real shit, lions and lambs, dreaming. You just, he's talking about trying to pursue, the music or his career as a rap artist, you know what I mean? Against all the strife and struggle that he's going through in his personal life, some of it's on some gangster shit, but some of it's just on the shit that we all go through, your mama, your daddy, somebody telling you ain't gonna be shit as far as the music, you need to give it up. And so a lot of those things caught me when I was in a, kind of transitional time in school and things like that. I loved it back then, but to y'all's point, I think I absorb it and understand it a little bit better now. This is an album that gets major play for me still to this day. And I play it. I was telling Kennawayne earlier, I still play it probably 6 months out of the year. Any given 6 months, you'll catch me listening to this album. It's definitely one of my favorite albums. And this was an interesting time in music too. Just where this was, I say, the golden age of mixtapes, man. 11. Who else did we have? Anybody else? We had Drake's album, obviously, but that time we had like Kendrick bubbling up, Cole.
2011, yeah, that was right.
Rocky was starting the bubble. So you had a lot of these artists that are top heavyweights now. Because to me, KRIT is a heavyweight. You had them kind of bubbling up, but. Henny, man, I used to listen to this album a lot around you, bro. How did you
know them college days, bro?
Sir.
Classic, straight classic, bro.
Classic.
Even though it's 50 goddamn tracks, that motherfucker hit still though. It still rides smooth all the way through that bitch. Like the shit on here for me, track wise. Let me scroll through all 90 of these motherfuckers real quick. Theme song I fuck with, heavy as fuck. I feel like that shit was slept on. Then going back and looking, like you said, at a different perspective, I fuck with Time Machine more than I did.
Time Machine.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I fuck with that shit a lot more. Like, Big KRIT to me is basically on some random shit. He like a David Banner in like his perfect form. Like, peak David Banner. Like, if David Banner could be great, it's Big KRIT. That's the perfect form.
I'll second that message.
I
never thought about it like that.
David Banner never like shot up how KRIT
his rapping ability isn't where KRIT is. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why that popped in my head right now, but he's just like David Banner, but on God form. Like, this nigga didn't hit Super Saiyan, and David's just still stuck there trying to turn.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yeah, that 20, and he was part of that 2011 XXL class, which was
that was a
Kendrick,
crazy class.
Mac Miller, Yellow Wolf, Meek Mill, YG, Lil B.
Yeah.
Who else?
Bass guy, ho.
And we've talked about this before, but this was that era before mixtapes became so commercial. You know what I mean? Where this was, of course, they were still a lot of times on labels when they released the mixtape, but it was for free, man. God. So you really had that separation. Man, that was a crazy time.
That was a crazy
2011, boy.
That's a lot of great music, man. And this was a
nigga was already out of college then. Boy, life was something, boy.
Quick, boy. He said life hits you fast. KRIT was here. This was the follow up to that album, which a lot of people deem his best. I think this is his best. This is a damn near perfect album to me. And obviously, we don't really rate throwbacks anymore because they just have their place in time. But this is almost perfect for me, and just I kind of got the perfect mixture of vibes, though. I think one of the best things that we can kind of touch on and spend a little bit more time talking about. And KRIT has probably been the perfect embodiment of this next topic. So we've seen KRIT throughout his career kind of go up and down as far as not necessarily his popularity, but I guess his ability to kind of just be in the limelight. He's gotten in and out of different deals.
He don't market enough. That's
you
his
know,
fucking problem.
and a lot of that's because of his different deals.
Yeah.
He's not, necessarily the most marketable mainstream artist. Now, in the, we talk about how in today's world you have so much technology at your disposal as an artist, how it can be a good thing, a bad thing, pitfalls, and the sky's the limit. Now, one of the weird things though is that we've still seen a lot of artists still go the traditional model where they picked up steam by themselves organically, and then they still go ahead and go get that label bag. A lot of times the advance is there or what have you, but they're still going that traditional label route, when I feel like, and I think a lot of you feel like, there's a golden opportunity for us to have a really big artist that is independent. So let's spend a little bit of time just talking about kind of the differences or the pros and the cons between being independent and being signed to a major deal. And then just, why we think, artists are still going that route. So for this one, I definitely want to go with Miles. He's an artist. He's probably been in that,
let's do it.
quite a bit. So man, just
I haven't been approached by any major, so I'm not there in that, but I can give a unique perspective, I suppose.
Right.
But what we're laying it back to Big KRIT, it's like some of the songs he was talking about was being in that. It's like the highs and lows and shit. So he was in Superstar, he was trying to get into that shit, but it's like I think labels slept on him, and he went through these situations because marketing, especially at that time, was about like, you're gonna make songs that everybody likes. Big KRIT's Southern draw is like, he's not making that mass appeal feel good record. You know what I mean? And fast forward to now, where it's like everybody has this opportunity to kind of like, get it on their own and be this independent artist, and we're pushing to that, and it shows. The internet's here, videos are way less expensive to shoot. There's a lot of aspects of it. You can get merch a lot easier on your own. There's a lot of aspects of it that these big labels are not needed for. However, I think that a lot of people go to these big labels because of what the big labels have geared rap into, right? They decide what comes out. For so long, they've decided what comes out, what doesn't come out, what should be popular. And I feel like a lot of these young cats who are going to the either doing the independent or doing that shit have kind of modeled their flows and their styles and what they talk about and their subject matter to what gets you big. A lot of people, especially younger cats, are rapping about what makes you big. You know what I mean? It's like, I can rap like this. I can talk about this because this is going to get this. I can talk about this and it's going to get this. And I think another thing too is like, I think it is the money, because it's like you can have a lot of success independently. You can make a lot of money independently, but you won't. I think you still need the labels are important for like super mass everybody. It's like becoming a household name or becoming so big that everybody knows you. Now, I don't know if that is the eagerness or the want for fame that's pushing cats to do that. But it's like, or if it's because they want to be the biggest person. Everybody wants to be the best at what they do, right? But I think as I'm getting older, I would much rather be independent and sell 50,000 than on the label and sell 200,000 or 100,000.
That's a hell of a point, and I think one of the things on that money tip is just you think about how an artist, you start thinking about this chunk of the pie where as an independent artist, you keep a larger chunk of the pie for yourself. Now, just to be honest, pie. Devil's advocate is a smaller pie. So you're 90 or 80%, after you break it down, and you're 75% as an independent artist might still not be bigger than that 35% that you see as an artist that's, signed to a major deal. And so a lot of times, these younger artists, like you said, they're not really seeing the long game where they're seeing, okay, you're throwing $1 million in my plate right now, but then you're signing away your publishing or half your publishing and all this, for $1 million right now. And then you're getting scraps later. But it's hard to turn down that $1 million or that $2 million for somebody.
Especially when you broke. You ain't never seen nobody ever. You don't know anybody who's seen that kind of money. It's like, what
exactly.
The fuck? But it's stealing their generational wealth. You could pass, though you own the publishing to your music, you could pass that shit down to your children. You could give them executive producing credits, and they'll be making bread. So by the time they're a certain age, they can do what they need to. And it's like, I think that's more important that as far as getting that big piece of the little pie compared to a little piece of the big pie.
Yep, licensing your music out to movies and shows to
Then your
use
own
and getting
man.
that
Bro.
money, man. That Skrilla. Yeah, no,
Owning
I
the music.
definitely ownership is a major deal, man. Kennawayne, man, how do you feel just even as a creative yourself, just with independent versus the major label deals, man?
I think the labels, of course, have the money backing behind them, and I think a lot of people, especially like Dolph, for instance, he started on a label, got
I was
off.
gonna bring that shit up.
Young M.A. started on a label, got off of it. I think it's a good starting point to get your name out there. Now everybody knows those people. Now they can do it on their own.
Now they can do it on their own.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that they couldn't do it before. It's just here's a starting point. Now there are some people that can do it and they start like on SoundCloud. We talked about that shit before.
Chance.
The problem with that is you're really banking on yourself. You're really putting all your money in the bank, and you gotta have a plan, somewhere to go. Where's my money gonna be best invested? And a lot of people.
But sometimes, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut
Go
you
ahead,
off.
go ahead, go ahead.
Sometimes that's the best. Sometimes that could be the best option for you. It's like if you sign the deal and you sign the deal for 2 records. You know what I'm saying? There's motherfuckers, people getting fucked because they're signing a deal for 4 or 5 records.
Yeah.
And they can shelf you for 10 years. You signed a deal for one record deal. Yeah, fuck me there, but now I have this big fan base that I can do it independent. And that's happening for a lot of people.
I think that's the best route to go.
Well, let's not skip over one guy too. That the disc deal. So like, let's say you sign for 3 or 4 records. What these labels can do now is tell you that you have this body of work, Miles, that you bring to me, and now I'm gonna say, well, nah, this is actually a mixtape. So then that doesn't even count towards the number of albums that you've actually signed on for. So
Lil Uzi that ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shit, Frank Ocean pimped that shit. You see that?
Hey, flip that shit on that ass.
He flipped
real quick, And I'm sorry, you were saying, Miles.
Oh, so I'm saying a lot of the older cats, that's the reason they're still relevant or still even making money. It's like, like your Killer Cam and your Jones, like they had all this money behind them to get them that big, and now they have this base where they can put whatever, they can put music out and they can own it from there. And then once you have that bread built up, you can go back and buy the shit. You know what I mean? You can go back and buy your master back.
Yeah. Get your most profitable work, And a lot of times people think that by being independent, you don't have to put in the work, and or just they don't really see the work that goes in. You still got to have a team and a plan, people, and it's a lot of people don't go the independent route because you have other people that can do it for you when you're with the label.
Yeah, and I think you have to be surrounded by the right people first and foremost. Exactly. Now, I will say the positive of being independent is your creativity is not hampered by anybody else. You can do what the fuck you want. You can take whatever fucking style you want, and you can say, I'm going to put it out there and bet on myself. You don't have to say, sort of like, we'll get into an album today. There was one artist we're going to get into this week that said, man, I didn't want to do this, but because the labels told me to do this, I had to do this to make my bread, which I understand. I go to work every day, and if my boss tells me I got to do it a certain way, I got to do it a certain way. Bro. Now, if I own my business, I can do it how I want, but there's a lot more, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot more steps you have to invest in that.
That's a fact.
I will say the creativity, like, you know what I'm saying? We all say, man, if I ran this motherfucker, I'd be doing it. You know what I'm saying?
I'd be doing it this way.
If you run a motherfucker, you can. So I think the creativity opens up. But then, like I said, I think for the majority of people, you don't have the team strong enough to get your name out there and build up, your persona, or to
keep that goal in mind, to keep the goal in mind. Because sometimes, as we know, there's levels to your career where sometimes people get a little bit too comfortable too early, where you got a big song popping, okay, and you start sniffing yourself, and there's still work to be done, bro. Like this is the first step of your career, the first platform, but you need to hop up on that and be ready for the next horizon. And a lot of times, you get a little bread off that song. Some people get hungrier, and then some people just start relaxing, and they don't. And if you don't have that label to carry you,
right? And it's not just you. Like it's like you're talking about your team, having a team to push you independently. You got to keep everybody on your team on track independently because, record labels, these people are your team, but they're getting paid regardless. They're going to do the same thing. If you have people passionate about you and they're working for you and they get you this position, they see a little bit of money, they could slack off too. You know what I mean? It's not just you. You have to be responsible for the whole kit and caboodle. So it's like, that's a lot. It's a lot more work. It's a lot more work independently.
There are a lot of drawbacks. So a lot of times I think, and it's just so let me frame this, before we move on. I thought that there was, and I don't know the ins and outs of every single person's deal or anything like that, but why haven't we seen like an artist like a Drake or someone that's gotten out of a deal recently? We see them re-up. Like, so Drake got out of his deal with Cash Money, but then he signed directly to Universal. Now Universal probably, I don't know the details of it. I'm sure they bought out the fucking Brinks truck for this man. But, if there were an artist to do it successfully on a scale we've never seen, I would think a person like Drake or somebody like that would be able to carry themselves independently.
Yeah,
bro, I don't think Universal would let him. I don't think Universal would let him do that. If they saw Drake go independent, and it's like, oh shit, well I could do this independent.
Yeah,
that would be a big hindrance to record labels. Period.
And they probably promised him his masters back.
Bro, they like you said, brought out the Brinks truck. They gave his deal guaranteed is like nobody else's deal. Yeah. Ever. Period.
Yeah, I think there's certain people, like, he's in control. Like, he's going to tell the label what I want to do. Because if not, it's like, fuck it, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, like, and everything he does works.
What are you gonna do?
Like, you have the crowd right now to where it's like I think he like at this point, I'm gonna use their money to finance my videos and all that shit, and keep things as usual. And like I said, that he wants those masters back because those earlier masters are super valuable. Yep. So for him, might not be worth it.
It's like Kanye said, give me 50 million, I'ma quit. He's calling the shot in that bitch. For sure.
Boy.
Fact.
I got somebody not like Drake, but in some similar shit like that. Like, labels know niggas that's gonna produce. Like 6ix9ine, this nigga was still facing a case and getting record deal offers. Like, shit like that. Like, niggas know, like, if certain niggas go independent, they gonna still make their bread. So niggas were already hitting this nigga over the head with contract offers. Like, shit like that's stupid as fuck, bro. Like,
I still just think the 6ix9ine thing's gonna fizzle though, bro.
It's the internet, man. It's the internet. This nigga controls.
I still think it's gonna fizzle,
right
bro. I think there's gonna be a point in time because the music is dookie. Like, we can all agree on that. The music is
no. The company that signed them, they're smart. They only did 2 years. They're not looking past that. That's all they need is those 2 years.
Fuck the label. 6ix9ine is signed to Universal. So he is signed to a small label, but they are signed to Universal, which is the biggest goddamn music label in the fucking country. But it feels like this shit's gonna get old eventually, and we always go back to, no matter what the drama is, when you think about Drake, you think about anybody, after the drama goes away, what do we have left? The music.
Good music. Yes, sir. Yeah. Good or not. Yeah.
And when that
only nigga I seen be able to start a home label was the real hood nigga, the trap guy Gucci with 1017.
Master P, if you want to
Master
take it.
Yeah. Rap a Lot Records. Let's not forget Jay Prince, the Don.
Yeah, Rap a Lot.
I ain't count Master P because he ain't really make no hits himself. I was meaning like, I mean like mostly. To say, that one.
But I will say, I'll say this: there are all the independent that are successful are only known in pretty much the United States. They're not known around the world. So
well, Chance is semi-independent.
But Chance is halfway independent, bro.
Chance is better at them.
But if I was to say Drake, you'll know Drake in Japan, China, Australia.
I think Chance is global, right?
Chance
is global.
He's global. He's global just because the other shit he does.
Yeah.
Because he does other shit besides the music.
So to Miles' point though, Chance is kind of like weird independent, where like he doesn't officially have like a record deal. Now everybody needs a distribution deal. Like let's not be mistaken there. You got to have some type of distribution deal, even if you are independent, just to get your shit out there. You probably don't need it in the same way that you did before, but.
For what? You don't
What'd
need
you
a
say?
distribution deal. I said, for what? You don't need a distribution
some type of
deal.
distribution.
I mean, I think like that's kind of how Chance dipped his toes in that industry shit. Is like the distribution of being exclusive on Apple before, or whatever deal he had there. But it's like distribution deals. Ideally, is getting your CDs into different stores around the country.
You don't need as much.
All that shit's there. G. Like you need promotion package deals. You need like PR representation. It's like
that's what Lil Boosie need.
But I feel like a lot of these distribution companies
gonna
now
make his independent money anyway.
I feel like a lot of these distribution companies or the people that once were specialists in distribution kind of now are more marketing oriented, I would say.
Okay, I mean,
kind of
that's
shifting
what
with
you're
the
talking
business.
about. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Not like traditional, because no, you're correct. You're 100%.
Right.
Like traditional distribution, you don't really need, but you still need some sort of marketing. Even though the units physically don't move out to the stores, you do need product
marketing.
Like
you need people to see your face and shit. You need to be on billboards or whatever, doing interviews to get you on Power or all that shit.
Yeah. Now Chance claims that deal was literally just 2 weeks. They gave him $500,000, and then after that, it was everywhere. I still want to kind of see a little bit more of the details of that shit because it seemed a little fishy, man.
Yeah, but I think principally it stands up. What he's saying is that like you don't need to sign your life away to these record labels in order to make your bag. And however much help he's had, I think he's still kind of shown that independently he's been able to make shit crack. If he wasn't that big independently, he wouldn't get that help from Apple. He wouldn't get that help or these little contracts from Spotify or whatever the fuck. So.
Now, Chance did have some connections. Before we move on, he did have a few little connections where, like, I think his dad worked for Obama and things like that. So I don't think the connections were really what got him there, but I think just them having a knowledge of how inner workings of like just business and stuff like that work.
Him seeing how it moves. Yeah.
Well, Chance is more commercial too. Like, well, he's actually in commercials and shit like that. Like, if it was like more of a street nigga trying to do that shit, I don't think it's gonna go the same. Like. The baby, like if the baby ain't signed to a label in Stunner, like that shit ain't working out the same way.
The baby wouldn't be where he's at now for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's a fact. All. You're only gonna get to a certain level being on an indie let me not say that. Let me not say that. It's harder to get to a level of the baby.
Some niggas have to kind of dip in that industry for
now. Chance goes where his bread is buttered. Chance gets Choco Bell deals, and I don't blame him. Shit.
Damn, shit, right.
Hey, that nigga Wiz was on the Oreo commercial. I said, ain't this a bitch? Everybody know this nigga smoking. He dipping Oreos in milk. I was like, okay, my nigga done made it. I said, my nigga finally made that status.
What was that song he had with Charlie Puth? When See You Again. Once you do that, though, you're made for life.
That boy was on Fast and the Furious? Boy.
That shit.
Oh, yeah.
He in there.
Yeah, you commercial for life. But now, fellas, everybody has some really, really, really great points, man. I hope you're on again because you have a lot of good insight on, just the kind of the workings of that. And this week we do have 3 albums. A fact, man. Thank you so much. This week we do have 3 albums to get to. We won't spend a whole lot of time on them, but we did have some pretty good stuff this week. So last week was a pretty slow week musically. This week we had Wale drop. We had who else did we have? T Grizzly dropped. Wale's was more of an EP. T Grizzly had a full length, and then we're gonna review Landon Marcel's album as well.
It was albums this week.
There was, man, a lot of good singles too.
Should even Starlito drops.
Hey, Steve, we have a lot of
I fuck with that Smoke first that drop.
City Girls too. I forgot about. God damn.
Their whole shit leaked first. Somebody leaked
it. Did.
I'm gonna give this up to y'all, and I'll go last on these album topics just so y'all can kind of get into the meat and bones of it. Let's go ahead and start out with that Wale, man. I believe the Wale called The Imperfect Storm, and again, that was an EP. It was 6 songs, and Wale's been doing a lot of type of EP stuff. So, man, Henny, let's start with you, bro. What'd you think about that Imperfect Storm?
Wale, I've been fucking with Wale for a minute. So I wasn't really surprised about how smooth he fucking wrecked this album, especially with the shit that's going on now. He hit that shit right on the button, like track for track. That hoe was hitting for me. My favorite one on that hoe, it's already on my playlist. I don't even know if this was my favorite. Actually, I'm not gonna say that. That June 5th, and then it switches over to Queen's God. That shit right there was fire as fuck.
Mm-hmm. We both had that in the playlist.
And the last track, that nigga had that Majo or whatever the fuck they was saying.
Oh yeah.
AJO, that shit fire as fuck. How that beat switched up on that bitch live. Like Wale always been spinning shit though. Like people just been so sleep on Wale for so long. This shit doesn't make any sense. Like at an MMG, like he's easily like one of the hardest niggas. Like I fuck with him more than Meek. Like I'd rather hear a Wale track than a Meek track. Easy.
He's chill, man.
So why do you think it is? I'll go first. I'll ask this question.
What do you think of the record?
People...
Before Miles,
Henny,
what would you give it out of 10? You didn't give it a score.
Shit.
Oh yeah. I was just about to get to that. So out of 10, I'll give it an 8.
Okay.
Solid. Miles, man, take it away, bro.
Okay, why do you think Wale's so slept on like that?
I think it's really as far as like he's not as active on like the media as far as like Meek's just in more beats. Like Meek just don't know when to shut the fuck up sometimes. So he's just more media out there, and you don't hear about who's Wale dating or shit like that. Like Meek,
right. He stays
out there all
private.
the time. Like, oh, Meek was dating Nicki, and now he said fuck Nicki. Now he's dating this bitch. Then Nicki shots at him song for song, back and forth, shit like that. Like Wale just chill. Like Wale just doing his shit, sticking to what he gotta do.
Stays true to himself. He don't switch.
Just
Question
on
to you,
Twitter,
Miles.
speaking on the same shit.
Question to you, Miles.
What's up?
That was a good intersection there. So it seemed like Wale had a point in his career where he was kind of about to take off, or at least where he was kind of like even keel with Meek. What do you think happened for him that just led to the decline?
I'm not sure, and that's kind of why I was asking. I think that
he got in that Drake shit. That's what happened.
It could have been that. It could have been like how you say he's not in the media as much, so he doesn't have that, and he's not for that shit. I think it could be that like he got written off because his biggest songs were all like, oh, I love the bitches, they aren't bitches, they are women type shit. So it's like I think that may be a thing that like as far as, and I think it ties in with the label shit, right? Because it's like labels aren't really trying to push that positivity shit, right? And so I think that could have a place with it. And me personally, I dug Wale. I always knew that he could rap, and I always respected his shit. But I'm never in the whip like, oh, let me go and throw this Wale on. But I did listen to this album, and I had nothing bad to say about it. He was nice. I like the diversity of the production. Which one did I fuck with? The Moving Different. The intro shit on the song was cool. Was super cool because it was, I did dualities. I liked how it was like, it was up. It was like, oh yeah, you move different type shit. But then also it was like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what I really mean by moving different. It's moving different alone stands as like it sounds like a dance thing. The way the beat, the way everything's constructed is like, oh, it's this dance thing. But then it's like he comes in and he's like, no, let me like really tell you what's going on in today. I loved how relevant it was. I loved how current it was. I loved the African shit on the last track, the Majo or whatever. That was cool too. I like the blue, yellow, green, pink, white shit. I thought that.
I forgot to bring that one up. That whole fire.
Yeah, it was fire. At first, I did dig it, and then I listened to it again on my second round through. I was like, "Oh, this is actually kind of tight." And I think it's also tight that like he admitted his faults in doing the drugs. As far as like a lot of rappers, I feel like talk about doing the drugs, and that's just it. And he was kind of like, "Shit, everybody got their vices. I could pop 3 of these bitches." You know what I mean? And I think he kind of like alluded to that. Kind of makes him more real than anybody else is just talking about drugs, talking about doing them. So I dug that aspect of that song. I liked it.
What would you give it out of 10?
I gotta give it a 1 to 10. I'm gonna go 7.
Okay, strong still. That's very strong.
Okay.
It's strong, yeah, and especially coming from somebody who don't really fuck with Wale like that.
That's right, man. That was unbiased. Kennawayne, man. I know you fuck with Wale heavy, man. What do you think?
I do, man. I do. I fucking love Wale, man.
Poet.
Yeah, bro. And that's kind of how he writes,
not to be.
Man. He writes and kind of intersects that. ever since I heard him on Contemplate with Rihanna, man, it's just taken off.
Exactly.
But this was not the one for me, bro. This.
Oh,
I knew he was setting us up. I was waiting on it. I knew he was setting us up.
Listen, there was some.
He didn't like it because y'all liked it.
It looks like we didn't switch back this week, guys. We're back.
We
Back
switched
to
back.
normal.
No, man, I wanted to like it. I listened. It's only about 20 minutes. I listened to it about 4 or 5 times, to be honest with you. Like the Empty Well Wishing, I fucking love that track. Blue, yellow, pink, white, green. I love that off the jump. And I really think he was saying some shit, like some in-depth shit. And I listened to it. And I guess maybe because I listened to Wale, I've been listening to him. I mean, there were dope tracks, but this wasn't near one of his best. And especially for an EP, I expected something to come out with him because, I mean, Sue Me came out last year. I fucking love that track. There's a lot of other tracks he's been coming out with. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. I don't hate it. I just think for him, it just didn't resonate with
below
me.
50%?
That is
Listen,
I don't hate it, but it's an F.
I mean, for 20 minutes, it's a 20-minute EP, man. And if I just didn't vibe with it, like there's songs I'll listen to, but if I didn't vibe with the whole EP, like I can't give it at least a 5. Like, and that's my nigga. Like, I fuck with Wale. I'm not saying like he wasn't.
You really giving that nigga more minutes. That hoe was 18 minutes.
Yeah, bro. I was rounded up for my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I give him a 4, man. Like
you're an asshole and a scoundrel. No, I'm playing. You did kind of set us up though.
I knew it was coming.
Y'all niggas was always excited.
I was waiting. That's why I started thinking.
No.
Let's end it on a better note than that. Then, to keep it short, man. Love the little EP, man. I almost called it a mixtape. I actually did like his album before that. I think the Wow, That's Crazy. I think that was a dope drop. Kind of went quietly. Again, Wale is just, man, really slept on. His label situation's been tragic in the past. He's kind of gotten a lot of hate from the outlets too, where like one day he didn't make like a top 50 rappers list or something, which is crazy.
Top 50?
Man, it was like top 50, and this was like 3 years ago, bro. So you know he's top 50 3 years ago.
I forgot who had made it in front of him. It was
like the Double XL or Complex or somebody. Like, and I think they were kind of trolling him because he's spoken out against them in the past. But
I think they had Lil Pump in there at that time. trying to be funny. I think they were trying to be real funny, bro.
Wale, man, I could throw it on the whip, especially if you're with a girl or something like that, just because he has that good flow, man. I vibed with it. I would give it a 7 out of 10. Just because it was, an EP, it wasn't a major body of work, but I still definitely vibe with it, and it will get rotation. Got a couple songs in the playlist for later as well. Moving on to our second tape of the day, we had Landon Marcel. What was the name of the album there? It was
2017.
2017, but it did come out in 2020, people, so don't be confused. I was confused as hell at first, too. I'm like,
this nigga 3 years late, dumbass. Niggas instantly start ripping.
For real.
Yo, stupid ass.
Let's review shit from 2017.
Right, y'all late. So it is called 2017, folks. Since this one's right in the middle, let's go with Kennawayne, man. Let's start off with you. What'd you think of the album?
Man, I actually really, really fucking liked it, man. I had a mutual friend hit me up about him, and they were like, hey, listen to it. I'm like, all right. He's coming out with an album. I said, all right, let me fuck with it. Let me listen. I give everybody the chance, you know what I'm saying? Because I've known Miles for a while. I've kind of ridden with him. Like, it's like, I know this shit's not easy. And I started listening, bro, and from the jump, it was dope. Then 1-1 came on. That nigga was hitting. The Cycle, that song right there could literally be like on the radio, and I'd fuck with it. And the Closure, that shit, that kind of hit me like some real ass shit. Like, we've all been there. I give it an 8 out of 10. I like where he's going with it. I really enjoyed it. And I mean, it kind of had almost, I won't say like a Drake type vibe all the way, but it was some light skin shit. I'll tell you that. But I fucked with it, man.
Okay, bet. Kennawayne, man. Let's go with you, man.
Okay, I'm gonna do this
You're
you
gonna
think
do it
of
again. Go ahead.
I said
do it again.
Kennawayne. It's because
ahead.
both of you. I'm so used to saying Kendrick. Then I'll just like Henny, man. What you think of the album, bro?
All right, so off rip, I fuck with the intro. That shit was hitting. Next song was pretty cool. I felt like it was trying to give. He said Drake. I felt like I was trying to kind of getting like Kendrick vibes on the couple how he was rapping. So I really didn't like that shit. I'm not gonna lie. Last track I did fuck with was Closure, too. So I really fucked with 2 tracks on there heavy overall. So this is like a light skin, dark skin thing. It looks like, I guess, because I really didn't fuck with that album overall. So for me, it got a 3. It got an extra point because it was like 2 tracks I kind of fucked with in between, besides the intro and Closer. So
This
I gave
nigga
it,
said, "Cause
I gave it half and a half for those 2. So I totaled that whole out to a 3.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean,
Hey, man,
my-
first question, kid, do you know if bro's light skinned?
Nah, I think he dark skinned for real.
Yeah, he looked dark skinned on the thing.
Either way, I think what you say about the Drake shit, bro, is in his feelings heavy the whole
real
time.
heavy.
Heavy. Which is cool. It's commendable. I get it. He needed to make this album to get this shit
2017 was
out
rough
of
for that
his
nigga.
body, bro. This nigga been holding this shit in for 3 years, G. And like he let it out. And I commend him for that.
He was spitting about that shit.
I commend him for that. As far as the tracks go, 1 out of 1, fine. He came straight bars, let people know he could rap. I thought it was tight. I like Vanity. I think Vanity was dope. The way they switched, the way the production did the singing to the sample and shit. I think that was the best produced song on the album. I like You Street too, because that's when he got in his Drake.
Yeah.
That's when he made something that was like real relatable. He rapped slow. He let everybody digest it. He showed that he's good at that shit too. Closure was good because he was like, man, fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, see,
he said, bitch, this is all you getting.
Everybody fucking
I don't need you. He went from light skin back to dark skin real quick in that one track.
That's why I fucked with Closure heavy on that one. I was like, for that bitch, man.
Yeah, fuck her, bro. So I like that. I think I'm gonna give it higher than a 3 for sure, just because of his authenticity. It's hard to really express your feelings, especially coming as an artist. It's like making people enjoy you expressing your feelings so matter-of-factly is kind of dope to me. So I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Okay, absolutely.
6.5, yeah.
Just to follow up on that, I kind of have a very similar feeling about the album. I think bro has talent for sure.
Absolutely.
I think he does have some room to grow, which is with any artist. There's obviously always room to grow. And if you're not trying to grow, then what the fuck are you doing? But I think the intro, like everybody said, fire came right in. I did like a little bit of I did like some of the like kind of phone clip interludes that he had in there. Kind of did that gave me a Drake vibe.
Demos were smooth as fuck.
All
his interludes are fire.
Yeah, those
made
were
it feel like an album for real, like an album.
Yes, like a really nice project. So I'm gonna stay in that same vein. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Which again, on a 10-point scale, sometimes people think that's bad. Not bad at all. A 5 is a pretty decent.
Yeah,
album.
he's new, so I mean.
I'll say go ahead and put a 4 for me. I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Them hoes are fire.
You doing a nigga bad, bro.
This nigga said, you know what? I'm gonna get a nigga a 4.
Get that nigga extra point. The interludes was fire. They did have
the interludes were on point. So I mean, bro has room to grow, and I can't. I'll be checking for the next shit for sure. So keep up the good work out there, man.
I'll definitely be looking for it.
Y'all go check that out. By the way, again, that was Landon Marcel.
Yeah, we'll have a link in the bio.
2017.
We'll have that.
Yeah,
link
bro,
up.
nice.
It's solid.
Last,
it ain't for me, but it's
solid. Hey.
Look, it ain't for me being a dark skinned nigga here, but it's solid. That's all I'm gonna say.
Moving on to that last album, last but not least, man, we had T Grizzly with his follow-up to the 2019 Scriptures. He just dropped last week on our heads. Brand new album. Brand new, as I continue, brand new album. So this was what it was 17 tracks, which is about right for me. I don't like anything really above 16, but 17's right in that good pocket. I'll go ahead and start this one out just to kind of get mine out the way. Again, I always say break tradition just a little bit. So I was a big fan of T Grizzly's last album, Scriptures. Liked it a lot.
Yes.
He kind of is critical of that album on this newer album. He talks about some of the things he tried. It was obviously a more expensive album because I think he had production by like Timberland and a few others and things like that. So he got on beats that he wasn't normally on. I like the variation to kind of hear an artist who, in his way, he's kind of limited flow wise. Like I love his flow, but he only has about 2 flows, which is good. He doesn't need to do too much, but he has about 2 flows. One's a singy flow and one's his regular rap flow where he's just kind of fucking going fast and shit, like he's going out of breath.
He only starts singing when the beat slow down.
Yeah. I like T Grizzly, man. I fucks with the kid. I just didn't like this album as much. This one kind of just sounded, it was a miss for me. It was a miss. I like hearing that murder talk from him. He does it good, man. There was something lacking. Like the production on last album was so good, and then to this one, it was just kind of like too experimental, almost like, what is bro doing right now? Like these beats are just not, they sound like some Candy Crush type beats or some shit. So this one was a no for me. I still fuck with T Grizzly heavy, and I'm gonna give it a couple more spins for sure. But at current time, it was a 5 out of 10. I enjoyed the flows. I just didn't enjoy the beats at all. And it's hard to get through an album when you don't enjoy the beats. Miles, man, what'd you think about that T Grizzly, bro? Him?
I dug it, G. Like I think that the production was lacking. Not that the beats weren't super crazy or super good. I think that the beats may not have highlighted his style. However, I dig T Grizzly's flow just as far as like he's witty. I dig when a rapper is witty and can make me be like, oh ha, like the whole just like with the whole rap a lot shit. He did that thing. He did it on another song too. What was it?
And by the way, he manages to be witty with murder talk. Like that's
he's
a hard.
Witty and he can do the murder talk shit, which is nice. I'd like the I'll apologize shit because if it's like even if his last album may have sounded better, he's recognizing that he was doing it for the wrong reasons and he showed growth. He came from the heart on a lot of these tracks. I like the Big Sean joint. That shit was sick. The Meat shit was cool. I think that it was a little too long. I think if he would have made this maybe 14 tracks, then it would have been a way better album. I think that he could have cut some trim, and made it like a really solid project. But I like that. I like his rapping. You are true. He's kind of a one-trick pony, but he does his trick well.
Fact.
The funeral joint was tight too because it's like the witty shit and it's like that, and then which I really like, and then the double standards joint stood out to me too because I really like that joint too. But again, like with the double standard shit, I really liked everything he was talking about. I liked the subject matter. I liked how he put it together. I don't think the beat necessarily highlighted the song. Yeah. Fact. So what am I gonna give this? I'll probably give it like I'm gonna go 6, solid 6 across the board.
Okay. And to your point, I think that maybe this COVID shit had a little bit to do with some of it because you can't really get in the studio as much as you would like with a producer, maybe. So it sounded to me almost like it was not disjointed, but like you just didn't have that same, being in the studio with the producer and shit like that, or having any time in there, a lot of back and forth because he mentions several times throughout the album that he's quarantined, and lockdown.
It also could have been the big heavy producer. He had Timberland on the shit. He couldn't pay for a bunch of other big beats, so he had to kind of shuffle through some of the smaller ones.
Fact. That's the fact.
Checking in the savings account real quick.
Who can I afford right now? Shit. My boy out.
Oh, this no name. Boop. You go.
Yeah, here you go. Here's Here's $500, nigga. Give me this beat. Kennawayne, man, what'd you think of the T Grizzly, bro?
Oh man, I'm pretty much gonna go kind of exactly what Miles said, man. Trenches with Big Sean, I think, was the standout record on here. The Funeral, Lions and Eagles with Meek. it started off real good, and I kind of think it was too long too. Like, I'm usually fine if it's too long, and I see he's growing because I think I see he's growing and shit because we've seen it from the first Steal My Moment. After that, he started growing, but I think he just got too far away from self. Like, I was like, what is this? Like, this don't sound like it belongs to you. Like, I know you want to try this shit, but it's like Popeyes trying to do.
Nigga done brought up chicken. Oh shit. Here we go.
Yeah, it's like the nigga. I didn't say brother chicken. You know how I feel about chicken. Nah, it's like
Here we go.
it's like Popeyes trying to do a burger. Like, I mean, you could do a chicken sandwich, but nigga, you don't get too far away. And I felt like that was on this. I did like it. I give it a 5 out of 10.
Imagine them niggas making a spicy burger patty though.
Hey. Or a chicken burger patty, like some type of chicken.
Yeah, we
infused-
brought out food like 3 times this
Boy.
episode. Taco Bell.
Hey,
Nah, I wouldn't
I'll
eat
get a
that
5
shit.
out of
Chicken
10.
infused beef.
I think it was right in the middle of the road. Like, I think he did some things right, and I think he did some things wrong. I think this was like a growth, on his own. I'm waiting to see what he does next from this point. But it's a 5 out of 10. There's gonna be tracks I listen to, but I won't just put it into my rotation.
But yeah, the singles for me were the only things that might land there. I did like a couple of single sadish and stuff like that. Henny, man, what did you think of this fucking album?
out of all the albums, I actually fuck with this whole the most. Not even gonna lie. Fuck with this whole the most. I apologize. That's on my playlist, like you mentioned earlier. That shit fire as fuck. Intro was smooth. Then you got Trenches with Big Sean. About time we hear some shit from Big Sean. That nigga killed that shit, like, for no reason. That nigga had a vengeance. Like, that was fire. Funeral. Lions and Eagles was straight. Like you were kind of saying, I do agree. Like, with the beats, they weren't like his usual beats to like where them hoes would knock. Like, you feel that?
Yeah.
Man, fuck the Lions and the Eagles.
True. Fuck them niggas. But
Lions ain't done shit. You just gonna cap.
I fuck with a lot of tracks on this song, like the Slime with Lil Key, Double Standards was another one. Winning, I fuck with and Daylight. Like, there's a lot of tracks I fuck with. Like, I played this album, no lie, like 4 or 5 times already, just to make sure I wasn't tripping, to see if I really did fuck with it.
Did you do high and sober?
Oh, you already know I did the whole high, sober, the buzz, like, did all of it. I still fuck with it. Like, for me, I give it an 8.5.
Okay.
Just because I know, like, if he had production behind that hoe, like he usually does, that hoe could have been a solid 10. Like, if he cut off a couple of tracks, like 3 tracks, if he cut off 3 tracks in a hoe, I would have gave that bitch a 10 out of 10. That would have been my first 10.
Yeah, I like 13, 14. That 17 is still.
Yeah. It was some trim he could have cut on there, like,
Okay.
and it would have been solid for me overall. That
This nigga moment is brought to you by Henny.
Well, shit. Either way, it looked like, Grizzly had a solid outing. We'll be looking out for, his next move. I'm sure he'll probably be dropping some singles here pretty soon because he dropped singles right after Scriptures, not too long after. So, they're moving at rapid pace. He doesn't have much else to do but make music at this point. But solid album overall. But kind of what we like to do, transition off the previous topic. Grizzly in this album, to many of your points, did talk a lot about his previous album and previous songs. Kind of was apologetic of like maybe some of the style and some of the things he tried on his last album as opposed to this, and it felt like more of an apology to his core fan base, which you don't necessarily see artists past his stature really do. They don't really necessarily address their core fan base, because once you get in the super huge mainstream area like Drake, Kendrick, you don't really have a core anymore. But a little less fluid. In that vein, though, man, what responsibility do you think an artist has to his fan base as far as his range and creativity? Should an artist make just the type of music that he wants to make, regardless of what his fans think? Do you think an artist does have that duty to kind of stay within the vein of what got them popping, what the fans are saying, or just even trying things that all fans are asking for, features that they're asking for? production that they're asking for. What do you guys think? Just whoever wants to jump in, honestly, up for grabs. What do you guys think about artists' duty to their fans?
Well, shit. Well, I think that it's tricky, right? Because I think that if you are changing your shit up, I think that every artist is growing, right? If you're not growing, then what you're doing it for? If I feel like if you're not growing in your musically, then you're ill-intentioned, right? You're not in it for the right things. I think that if you do it dope enough, that people will fuck with it. Like you won't be so concerned about what the fans did if you don't feel like the new shit that you're doing or how you're evolving is dope enough. We've seen plenty of artists who have made it really like transcend genres. I know y'all were talking about a couple episodes ago. Y'all were talking about Tyler. You know what I'm saying? From his shit to what it is now is completely evolved, and it's still solid. And people fuck with it. Look at Gambino. That shit is way different, way out of left field from the shit that he was in the path he was going on. But if it's really good, that you still gonna have that fan base. You're still gonna maintain that shit. And people are scared to do that. People are scared to do that because you have label pressure telling you, make another this, make Big Pimpin' 2, make, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
this and that. And it's like, damn, you're scared to lose everything. At that point, everybody's relying on you. You feel like you can't fail, and if you fail, you letting everybody around you down. And so it's like it's a big leap. It's a big leap to make, and it's a safe thing to do to stay the same. I feel like that's
and I mean I personally like to see an artist try to make music as unapologetically as possible. So you made some really great points with like Gambino and Tyler. But they don't go back and say, well, like Gambino was kind of borderline corny at one point. Like, I like this music, don't get me wrong.
He wasn't borderline corny. I think he was corny, but he was
super corny. Let's keep it a buck then. Super corny. Had some good tracks and shit, and you could vibe to him, but he was corny. And like, he doesn't ever really say like, oh man, I was mad whack back then, shit like that. He just kind of evolved and took us along for the ride with his sound, like you said, and we evolved with him. Like, okay, well, fuck it. This is what we get from Gambino now. And it was a pretty swift transition. Tyler did the same thing, He was talking about fucking, all types of wild shit, eating cockroaches and, using slurs and shit. And then now this fool made a masterpiece, a work of art with Igor.
Right.
So I like to see an artist kind of more so take you on that ride with them without really apologizing for their previous shit. There are some rare instances where like Cole had that shit where, the label was trying to make him do shit. Worked out for Cole, and I think it was still a great album. His first shit, The Sideline Story, but like, you do have those rare instances where the label goes too far with the shit, but I still think you just got to be.
He said, there you go.
Guns forward. Blazing forward, man.
And the thing is too, it's like if it's dope, like you're saying, people apologize. If it's dope, you don't have to. You don't have to apologize if the next shit is dope.
Exactly.
Like,
my car got robbed, broke into, nigga.
No, it's just the firework was so loud that the motherfucking alarm set off.
Turn that on.
Man, I'll say this. I think it's your foundation that you set, man. Like if you put yourself in one lane and you go too far away, then people are like, I'm used to this. Okay, what the fuck is this? Whereas like Gambino, Kanye, all these creative fucking minds, you don't know what to fucking expect, which is great. Like Drake, like he set the tone with his first mixtape. Yeah, it was singing, it was different. And then he got into the rapping a little bit deeper, and you're like, all right, I think it's where you started. But I think creativity as an artist, any artist, you're gonna do what the fuck you want as long as you do it well. No one's ever gonna say, like, I could say, man, I don't fuck with this, but I think it's a great album. We say that all the time, and you can do that. But you have to go all the way in. You can't do half-ass. You can't like, oh, let me try this sorta. You have to, you can try something different, but your whole album has to reflect that difference. Like when Kanye did 808 and Heartbreaks, versus when he did the red album,
Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Dark Twisted Fantasy. Those are two different fucking albums, but he kept it the same. Same with Drake. He might switch it up, like Nothing Was the Same and Take Care. They were a little bit different, but he kept it all the way the same. He kept it exactly the same. He tries different things, but he didn't go all the way to fuck in. I think when you go all the way in completely, people that are listening to you for a certain sound, there's a lot of people that listen to you for a certain sound. You know what I'm saying? I don't listen to Young Dolph expecting this nigga to make a J. Cole track. Like, wait, what? It'll throw me the fuck off.
Right.
You can
I think some of these artists are confused, though. I think some of these artists are confused where they don't have a sound, because even like Travis Scott up until recently, and he still, to me, is kind of in that way. Like, his production masks a lot of shit, and he's a great artist, but like, he doesn't have a definitive sound. If you really like early, especially on in his career, his biggest hit was that what was that joint that he sounded like Sway Lee on, the fucking Antidote. Don't you open? I mean, that was Sway Lee shit, and he didn't really have an identity. He was brawling from Atlanta, from Texas, from New York, and he really was struggling for a long time before he found his groove of, hey, I'm a composer, I'm a producer first, and then I put the vocals and arrange other people's vocals, kind of similar to Kanye. He's an arranger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And unless you can do that, you know, I think a lot of these cats, to your point, bro, or what kind of around what you're saying, is they don't have that confidence in their sound like Drake and like some of these people do. They are experimenting because they just throwing straws at everything.
Yeah, like even like the other albums on here, like Wale, like we did. Like Wale's gonna be Wale. We know who Wale is. Does he do some different shit like Lotus Flower Bomb and like damn, there was like 3 tracks on his EP this week that sounded completely different, but you knew it was Wale. You knew what the fuck he was talking about. You knew he kept it all the way the same. And I think artists like that, that's the one that prospers when they make those subtle changes, when they come up with new creativity. It's the ones that get stagnant in what they're doing all the time. And then, you know, I wake up, I'm going to try to do something different today. And then everybody's like, well, I mean, you can't go all the way left, nigga.
Yeah, because as fickle as fans can be, they want to hear shit.
Yeah, and that's the difference between growth and trying to come out of left field to get traction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if it's growing and being developed, there's definitely going to be some of the same. You're still the same person, right? You're still the same artist, but things have to change. You're evolving, as opposed to like, I don't know, maybe like Wayne, right? He's like rap, and then kind of hit out left field with this whole rock. I'm gonna play guitar and super sing.
Just about to bring that shit up.
Yep, I was just thinking that too.
But see, this goes back to the earlier topic.
It's because he built up. He's already at that status to where he was on top of the game. There was nothing left for him to do. So he's like, let me go ahead and dabble in this shit because I'm bored. This is like kind of like Young Thug. Like he been producing so much shit, so you know he does his little gay ass,
but don't you
borderline
feel like
play around with shit. Like,
that kind of goes back to the earlier topic though, where it's like a lot of times because we're in this age of the microwave shit where you can get your shit out quick and you don't necessarily have to have the label bringing you up, you don't get that artist development. And I've said that on podcasts before. That artist development is one thing that's critically missing from a lot of these people. Why we don't have as many artists with the staying power that we used to have once upon a time. Because these fools have no direction. There's no there is an A&R, but there's no real A&R presence there to help and say, you know, let's do this, let's not do this. Maybe we can tweak this, like Kennawayne said. Let's not get too far left, but we can try this, you know, and let's see how it really sounds before we put it out.
So who I was gonna bring up about that, you know, talking about growth and all that shit, Lil Baby. That's the prime example right now of artists that's actually like going outside of what they usually do and adapting to different shit, different type of beats, different type of flow, like different cadences, shit like that. So where it didn't drop them up there to where now niggas are talking about, oh, is this gonna be the Lil Wayne of our future? Like shit like that. Like
And he's just getting better too.
That's a solid.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like he actually been putting in the work. Like niggas need to put in the work pretty much if they want to go to that next top tier. Like he was in the studio with Wayne studying like how do you jump on this beat? How do you do this? How do you do that? Like, that's what niggas need to do more. Like, niggas just don't be doing that. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely take your cues from the pros. Don't necessarily acquiesce to everything. It sounds like we're saying that the fans say, because that might not be the right road. No, that was an awesome topic and an awesome talk, man. What we'll do from here, let's just jump straight into the current rotation playlist, man. Does anybody just have one that they really want to get off of right away? Man, Kennawayne, you look like you want to get your playlist off right. Go ahead, man. Hit us with the playlist, bro.
Shit. Okay. Well, I mean, it was kind of all over the place this week. We'll start with Kanye West, Can't Tell Me Nothing. Nigga, I just felt like that all week. Landon Marcel will end with Closure, because it's fuck these bitches all 2020.
Light skin.
Big KRIT, The Vent. You know, that's always one. Trouble and Jeezy with Medusa. And then my last one, Henny kind of put me on this with the video, and I had to watch this motherfucker. Y'all watch this video too. Free Joe Exotic.
I was gonna pick that.
Be the Pac-Man and Sada Baby. That
bars,
shit is
nigga.
hilarious.
Funny
but
as
they
fuck,
do got
but
bars.
Mhm.
That shit is hilarious.
Fuck it. I'll get mine off second then. I went with one that I mentioned last week. Some old Roddy Ricch, Every Season. That's my shit.
That's a good shit. Yeah.
Hey man, love that. Then I added two newer songs off that Wale. I did the June 5th that Kendrick mentioned. We both liked that one, had that to rotations. And then Shit Don't Stop, I did like that as well. And then I actually added an not old, but an album, a song from T Grizzly's last album, Sweet Things. Definitely fucked with that.
That was
and
real.
And then I took it back to 2014, August Alsina, Testify, off that Testimony album, man. I fucked with that.
R.I.P.
We're happy, man.
He not dead, but he just been gone, so R.I.P.
Hey, he dropped the single this week, man.
I was just about to say, I seen he was talking to the media more this week. So.
He was talking too much shit about the labels back then, and his shit fell the fuck off.
This nigga said
shortly thereafter, they said, okay, we'll see.
And they got sick and everything too. I was like, God damn, this nigga was getting hit with everything.
Right on over. Miles, man, hit us with that list, man.
So my list, I got Tales from Schoolboy Q. I love Crash in its entirety.
Yes.
Tales, I really like it because he was like really kind of getting in his like feelings bad kind of, and I fuck with that one. Jumanji by Chip the Ripper is an old one, but it's dope, super well produced. I've been on that TikTok. I don't know if y'all see the Chip Ripper got that interior crocodile, and that shit kind of made me want to go back into some old Chip the Rip shit, and that shit is one of the ones. Big Old Drip by T.I.
Hey.
And I'm not a huge fan of like late T.I. shit, but that song was just amazing to me. Aim High by Childish Major. I was feeling a little low this week, and that song always gets me a little uplifted. And Glass Flows by Smee, because Smino is amazing.
Oh, Smino is so dope, man.
I was about to put a Smino track until he put one, so I removed mine.
You should have just said bucket. Anybody out there who doesn't listen to Smino, hey, check the boy out. Anywhere that you want to start. And also, me and Miles might be friends, really good friends now, because Crash Talk, I thought that was such a great album. And I could have sworn one of y'all two little Negroes on the bottom said y'all didn't like Crash Talk.
It was me. Look, I said I didn't like it as much.
I was like, you already know.
Get your boy, dog.
Schoolboy. You know I fuck
Get your boy,
listen,
Miles.
I said I didn't like it as much. Hey, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Shit. Hey, I ain't gonna fake it.
The shirt might look like the Crash Talk logo, but it's actually my nephew clothing line. It's called Forest Only. So if y'all get a chance, go check that out on Instagram. Forest Only. He got some dope shit.
We'll have the link down there too.
And it'll be in the description.
Make sure to have that link in the description. Y'all go support the businesses, man. We talked about this. Support the people.
Like, subscribe, do all that shit, niggas.
Right. Henny, man, what that rotation looking like, bro?
So like he said, I needed a little pick me up, something to brighten my week up. So I had Trippie Redd, that Elevate and Motivate song on there, get my spirits a little high. I did have the same Wale song as you, so I'll switch it up. I'll just go with the Majo, because that shit was fire too. T Grizzly, I Apologize. And then I got Smoke Perp featuring Jack Hollow, the Type In. They got a nice little visual out to that shit on YouTube right now too. That whole fire. Then I went a little retro with that. I got Rich Brian with Ghostface Killer and Puya. That Stick, the remix. Fire as fuck. So that's my last song to cap it off.
Interesting. I'm giving you a
real
side eye, but
interesting.
interesting.
Not as
list there.
interesting as the Asian lady last week, but
That was.
Hey, but
I
did
don't
y'all
know.
go listen to that shit?
Kenneth was.
I did,
Kenneth was
I
fucking
did.
that lady or something.
Bruh.
Just throw an Asian bitch.
Bruh, it came on my shit on the playlist. I was just
this
I had
nigga got COVID.
I had a
I know
long
it.
ass drive.
Oh,
I
the
just
boy thought he
put-
was slick.
I just clicked on New Friday and that hoe was playing. I was like, this whole low key kind of heat. I was like, hold on.
That was
Who
the
is
most
this bitch?
obscure addition to the list. Kennawayne was like, I ain't putting this on the list.
Boy,
And the
I said,
nigga was
I don't know.
hitting people low. I was like, damn, this nigga took my job on the show.
Hey,
Shit.
for real, man. Man, let's go ahead and do our outros, man. Since we have a guest today, let's let Miles go ahead and start it off, man. Give us his spiel.
Well, shit. Thank you, first of all, for having me on. This was so much fun. I'm so happy I got to do it. Anytime y'all want me to come chop it up, I'm always ready to do that. Much respect to you guys. Y'all are putting things in the San Antonio city that I'm born and raised in, and y'all are doing it right, and y'all have something special with this, and I'm thankful to be a part of it. Go check out 100 Miles on all platforms. I have a bunch more shit promised. I'm coming. That's my new goal, to get shit out. I've made a bunch of shit. Now I'm gonna get it out. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, for letting me come and do this shit.
Hey, man, definitely the pleasure's all ours. Also, just to kind of piggyback off what he said, man, make sure we'll have all the links in the description as well, just so y'all can go check out, the music, clothing line, anything that this brother has. You can go support him and just show a little bit of love for somebody from the Tone too.
B.O.B. Black on business.
We always want to do that,
Yes, sir.
especially from the Tone.
Yes, sir.
Kennawayne, man, what you got for us?
Oh man. Shout out to Miles, man. Appreciate you on the show. Been rocking with him for a while. He been
Yes, sir,
supporting the
my man.
poetry for a while. Shit, back in high
My
school
man.
when niggas like that shit gay. Man, he was like, man, just keep riding. And a lot of niggas for real, now they're like, oh, that shit dope. I was like, oh yeah, fuck it. Now I got all the bit. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely. Yeah.
Transition slide.
I remember Miles, we really started talking about hip hop. He put me on diplomatic immunity too. He was like, hey, you heard this shit? I was like, let me listen. Hey, that nigga love that shit though. He be playing that
How
shit
long
all
ago
the
was
time.
this?
Shit.
How long ago was this?
Santana.
Showing the age. I
No,
like it.
Boy.
shout out to Nesto. He came up to me this week. He's like, man, what y'all been doing? Inspiration. I appreciate it, man. Shout out to you. Keep doing what you do. He got a podcast coming out soon too. I'm gonna try to be on that hoe. Man, and fuck these masks, man. I know we gotta do it, but shit, man, that shit make it hard to breathe. I'm a fat kid, but I be thinking some of y'all niggas. Shout out to everybody that got bad breath. Y'all niggas now know. Fuck.
For real. Hey, bro. Other day I ate some shit from I ate something I ate some like hot
Ass.
bacon cheddar ranch fries.
Oh,
Nigga,
that
I
nigga
put
said
that mask-
3 different ingredients. Hell no.
Bacon cheddar ranch fries, bro. And I said, oh, I gotta go to Walmart. I put that mask on, bro, and almost passed out. I said, nigga, your breath is ass right now. But I was just happy I wasn't talking to nobody's face, boy. So avoid the bacon cheddar ranch fries at all costs if you're gonna be talking to anybody.
Get that 5-strip gum.
For real. Henny, man. What's on your mind, bro?
Well, sponsored by Henny today. Appreciate the gift to one of the subscribers. They hooked me up. And shout out to the 60 subscribers we got right now. We trying to keep it pushing, so make sure y'all do like and subscribe to shit. It is fucking free for the last goddamn time. I don't know if your fingers hurt. Like if you got arthritis, use your toes. It is free. Just tap that goddamn button and we in there. We all good. Other than that, want to give a shout out to Miriam, even though she already said she's not gonna be my agent no more. She quit after one day after offering the job. But yeah, that's all I got. I just want to put her on blast real quick.
Cool, man. I ain't really got too much this week, man. Just enjoyed this episode quite a bit, man. A lot of great music talk. So we'll definitely make sure to get Miles back on as frequently as possible. I think he has a lot.
Yeah, I'm with it.
A lot of good insight. I watched Fargo, the TV series, this week for the first time, man. So just the TV series. I've seen the movie quite a bit, but the show is dope, man. So if y'all need anything new to watch, man, go check that out. It's all on FX on Hulu. And outside of that, man, just stay positive. These weeks these weeks ahead are hard, I'm sure, and each week it seems like something new is popping up, man. But stay vigilant, stay positive, and above all else, just lead with love.
Shout out my nigga Rob Logan that just walked by.
There you go. Either way, man, that's gonna be it for today, man. Y'all take.
Oh wait, hold on. Before we go, I forgot. Zoe, who was right on Chris Brown's?
I was right.
What came on the radio? What came on the radio?
How did you bring that up? Y'all both said nothing was going to be on the radio. And then I said, if you had to guess, what would be your favorite song?
And I said, go crazy.
My song was wrong.
You don't get a win. You don't get a win out of that.
We said,
I was right.
Lunch. Go back to this episode, and we said,
I was right.
Whoever's right. I said, go, this nigga laugh.
He just saw spots.
I don't think
He back.
He go. He said,
I told him to do it every time. You don't get a one more time.
You don't get a win. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. You don't get a win off that. I get the win because I said that album was gonna have some radio hits. So either way,
I didn't see any other one on there. But
no, but hey, they just started. They just sent to radio though. They just sent it to radio. See, hey, come on, y'all. They're still on. They're working that album traditionally, so they sent a couple singles. I'm sure that they're gonna work through the radio. That's a radio album, is what I was trying to tell you. That was one that was made for summer radio vibes.
I said there were some hits,
but y'all shit on the album.
On another note,
it was a shitty album,
and it's on.
I said there was two.
Either way, man, let's get the fuck up out of here. Till next time, y'all.
Some topics, like, subscribe, horse.
Yeah,
like and
we actually be
listening
to that shit. Like, subscribe, motherfucker.
Peace.
Peace.